Marvel's latest film, Thunderbolts, concluded its opening weekend, and to my surprise, it was actually pretty well received, as you can see here on Rotten Tomatoes, with a 94% for audience score. I mean, that's pretty good, all things considered. Now, this isn't necessarily the most surprising thing coming out of Marvel, because a lot of their movies in recent years, you can pretty much tell from the get-go that, okay, this is going to be crap. This is one of those movies, though, that I thought, like, okay, I'm not necessarily convinced, but I think it does have some potential, and it seems like audiences are really digging it. Despite all that, though, it seems like the box office revenue for it is not that great. On Box Office Mojo, you can see its worldwide opening was around $160 million globally, and this is on a budget that was said to be around $200 million. Plus another $100 million for marketing. That means this movie probably needs to make around $600 million globally in order to just break even. And according to Variety's reporting before the weekend kicked off, it was projected to make around $160 to $175 million. So somewhere within the range, but it seems like they were at kind of the low end of those projections. So that's not really a good sign for this, all things considered, because Marvel movies tend to make a majority of their revenue during their opening weekend, and it's somewhere around the 33% mark, or 1/3 of their revenue is what they make during their opening weekend. And if you multiply 160 million by 3, that's not nearly enough for them to actually make money off of this movie, unless good word of mouth is able to actually propel it forward. And so far that might be the case, but it seems like Marvel is kind of panicking on this one, because they made this announcement today where, according to this headline from Variety, Marvel changes Thunderbolts poster to replace movie title with the new Avengers, but it's a spoiler for the movie's big reveal. And that's right. So spoiler in case you didn't know and you were wanting to be surprised by this. The reason there was the asterisk in the Thunderbolts title is because it's revealed at the end of the movie that, no, this is essentially a new Avengers movie, and that's what they're called at the end of the movies. But now Marvel is replacing the Thunderbolts on poster with now to say the new Avengers. To me, this seems like it's kind of a desperate move on their part in order to try to maybe revitalize some enthusiasm in the audience for this movie, because they just didn't capture it during that opening weekend. Spoiler, the article contains major spoilers for Thunderbolts now playing in theaters. I think the headline kind of spoiled that, but yeah, whatever. Marvel Studios is wasting no time spoiling the end of its new summer tentpole, Thunderbolts. A giant billboard in Los Angeles promoting the Marvel movie got a massive facelift during the end of the film's opening weekend, as the title changed from Thunderbolts to The New Avengers. The studio then posted a video of the film's cast ripping the Thunderbolts title off the poster to reveal The New Avengers. The poster on the ticketing websites like Fandango has also changed to read The New Avengers. And if you actually go back to Rotten Tomatoes here, you can see it does say New Avengers on the poster for it. Fandango, same thing. It says New Avengers. The movie title still says Thunderbolts. So to me, this might cause some confusion unless there is plans to change the actual title of it later on down the road. We don't know at this point, but here's that video that they were talking about being posted by Marvel Updates, where they're ripping the title off of it here. Just something brief so we can take a look at it. Yeah, so there you go. That's how it was pretty much unveiled, and now there's websites are changing it. They had a big billboard in Los Angeles to show that, yes, it's now New Avengers, and it seems like a lot of people on social media really aren't liking this move on their part. If those are the New Avengers, Earth is screwed. Is this like a legit title change when the movie comes out on physical? Will this be the title? Movie ain't been out 2 days. Yeah, that's a good point right there. I thought it's Avengers with the Z. Trash. What a revelation. Culata. Not if this man has anything to say about it. Okay, so obviously a reference to the post-credit scenes, but you get the idea. It seems like a lot of people aren't really liking this news of them doing this sort of thing, and it does seem kind of strange that they're going to try to almost change the marketing, because they had a bunch of marketing for this movie in the lead up to the release. Like I said, it was previously reported that they spent $100 million to market this movie, and now I'm not saying they're throwing it all away, but by changing it like this after the opening weekend, it seems like they're I'm not saying they're starting over, but they are kind of causing a lot of confusion amongst people. So it seems like the only reason why they would be doing this sort of thing is if they weren't happy with the response that they got, or at least the box office they got. And if you look at the what they actually made this last weekend, I can see that being the case, because even though a $160 million global opening isn't necessarily anything to scoff at, and they still could go on and make money for this movie since word of mouth is in their favor on this one. They have a long ways to go, and they need to leg it out at the box office. And maybe Disney is hoping that by doing this, it kind of revitalizes a bit more interest in the movie in the lead up for next weekend. So I guess that's something I'm curious about, what the box office hold will be next weekend, to see if word of mouth is good enough for this movie, or if it'll be like every other Marvel movie where they have their opening weekend followed by a steep drop off. Marvel fans have long been wondering why the official Thunderbolts title included an asterisk. The answer is revealed in the third act of the movie when Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, announces the group name in the new event announces the group's name is the New Avengers, including the various cast members who were a part of this. It felt like if Val is also trying to pull a switcheroo and sell the New Avengers to the world, we could do that too, director Jake Schreier told the New York Times about the marketing change, especially given that the asterisk has been on the movie for a year. Hopefully it doesn't feel sweaty. It feels like this was a plan we built up to it. And that's another thing. Perhaps this is something that they planned on doing at a later point, but having it happen so soon after the initial release of it just feels like an act of desperation. Because keep in mind, we have seen this sort of thing before. If you all recall Birds of Prey, when that came out, the full title of the movie was Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. The movie did terribly at the box office, and a lot of executives thought, well, maybe it was because we were trying to market this on being a Harley Quinn movie, but with the title that caused confusion, people didn't necessarily know that this was a Harley Quinn movie. A lot of marquees would just put Birds of Prey on there. People didn't necessarily know what it was. So then they later on and changed the movie Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, and that really didn't help it much, but it was an attempt on their part in order to try to draw more audiences in, because people who liked Harley Quinn might have otherwise skipped the movie because they didn't know she was a part of Birds of Prey. So they did that move. It didn't work out for them, but it was an attempt. And I'm thinking we're seeing the same thing when it comes to Thunderbolts right here, because a lot of casual moviegoers, even casual fans of Marvel, might not necessarily know anything about Thunderbolts, but if you put an Avenger name on it, or the New Avengers, then maybe that would be more interesting to just kind of the lay person out there, or someone who doesn't necessarily follow everything Marvel related. And maybe they'd be more inclined to see that we're like, oh, well, yeah, I like the Avengers movies. This is the New Avengers. Okay, I'll check that one out too, before maybe the next Avengers movie comes out. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not this gambit pays off for them, if they're actually going to, or if they're actually going to go through and change the title, or just kind of change it on the poster, and maybe that will be good enough for them. It's very fun. Marvel was open to embracing that. Schneier added, it's so interesting in this world. And Kevin Feige talks about it sometimes, where sometimes they wanted things to leak and they didn't. Schreier said, I think we all assumed that it would be a bigger part of the conversation already. So it's interesting to see what happens. In the film's post-credit scene, it's revealed that the New Avengers are living in the old Avengers headquarters, now called the Watchtower. They're also in a legal battle with Captain America, Anthony Mackie, over copyright infringement of the Avengers logo. So yeah, whatever. I mean, that's not really important to all this. Now, one thing about this, like I was saying, it feels like they're trying to almost draw up some publicity around it, and maybe bring some more people into the theaters to see this movie who may have passed it up. And some people might try to point out like, oh no, the asterisk has always been there. This has been their plan all along. And I could almost grant that premise, but I have a feeling if this movie performed really strongly during its opening weekend, like let's say if it brought in a few $100 million during this opening weekend, would they be making this change right now? It feels like they're only doing this at this point right now because they're just trying to figure out what else they can do. Because it seems strange for them to spoil it like this just right after the opening weekend, especially with the poor performance. It kind of comes across as an act of desperation, something I don't think they'd be doing if the movie did better at the box office. But I don't know, maybe this will actually work, or maybe the good word of mouth will be enough for this movie to turn profitable. But I think this is kind of a strange move on Marvel's part, and I really don't think they should be doing it at this time. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.